After 5 long years apart, Millionaire twins' lives were transformed by their incredible new maid. Ethan and Ryan, once the dynamic duo of the sprawling mansion in Dallas, had become shadows of their former selves. The lavish lifestyle that had once seemed a blessing had morphed into a gilded cage, draping their lives in the weight of unspoken resentment and bitterness. The twins had let pride sever a bond that seemed unbreakable only 5 years ago. While Ethan consumed himself in solitude within the echoing walls of their multi-million-dollar home, Ryan faced the harsh reality of life as struggles, crammed into a cramped one-bedroom apartment, fighting day by day to overcome the hand life had dealt him. It had taken Clara, a barely known maid from a small town, to stir the stagnant waters of their fractured relationship. The first time Clara walked into the mansion, it was like a gust of fresh air sweeping through stale space. She was lively, always with a twist of determination in her smile, and she held her head high despite her worries. Her young daughter clung to her hand, eyes wide with awe as they entered the grand foyer filled with marble and ornate chandeliers. Clara immediately took to work, her laughter slicing through the silence that surrounded Ethan, stirring something inside him. Internally, Ethan felt a stirring of guilt for the loneliness he indulged himself in. But it was her hard work and indomitable spirit that also, surprisingly, ignited something deeper within Ryan. Who do they think they are? Ryan mumbled one afternoon in his tiny living room, flipping through channels on a 6-inch screen. He thought about his twin, thriving in wealth while he struggled to pay rent. Yet, somehow, a sliver of hope pierced his thoughts each time he would hear Clara's stories like the one about her military service, her sacrifices for a better world. He admired her tenacity and unwavering spirit despite her hardships. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the weeks passed, Clara wasn't just a maid. She was a breath of fresh air, unknowingly threading their lives back together. The irony was undeniable. Her laughter and hard work illuminated their estranged existence. But alongside that light came shadows. Unresolved arguments began to bubble up as her stories of struggle reignited memories of their own failed dreams. Then, the crisis hit their community, igniting anger and fear heartbeats across neighborhoods. Ethan's privilege had shielded him from such issues, while Ryan couldn't turn away from the despair any longer. Clara's voice swelled with the stories of those suffering, the cries for help piercing through their walls. As Ethan and Ryan faced the community rally, everything changed. For the first time in years, they were forced to confront their choices. Were they to become part of a change, or remain sheltered by their wealth? Their lives hung delicately in the balance, along with the lives of their neighbors, and Clara's resilient spirit seemed to be the thread that could weave them back together against the fabric of injustice. With hope tangled amongst decisions, a shocking revelation washed over them. Clara's journey was tied to theirs. A connection forged through shared sacrifice, blood, loyalty, and struggle, igniting a fire they both had long extinguished. Just as they began to approach forgiveness, the neighborhood crisis intensified, leaving the fate of their community and their relationship hanging by a thread. What path would they choose as the weight of their past bore down on them? As the tension simmered in the air around them, Ethan and Ryan stood shoulder to shoulder, facing a small but enthusiastic crowd gathered for the neighborhood rally. Hearts raced, fueled by the mounting challenges surrounding them. Clara's infectious spirit had rallied the community, drawing them into the fray to demand justice, and the twins felt herself being swept away with the tide. Ethan could see the determination in Clara's eyes as she spoke passionately to the crowd. Her voice carried over the murmurs, electrifying the atmosphere. He admired her strength and the way she ignited hope in the hearts of others. But beneath that admiration lay a deep sense of shame. Here he was, a millionaire with every privilege at his fingertips, struggling to stand for something he had once ignored. Are we just going to stand here? Ethan blurted, his voice breaking the trained silence he had been clinging to. Ryan whipped his head toward him, surprise plastered across his features. What do you mean? Ryan asked, furrowing his brows, bewildered but intrigued. Ethan's pulse quickened, his thoughts intertwining like a jumbled mess. Could he dare step into the light amidst the shadows of their past? We can't just watch. We need to help to show we care, he urged, the words feeling foreign yet liberating as they slipped out. Ryan hesitated, duality dancing in his mind. He was weary, laden with years of bitterness. Yet, the fire in Ethan's voice rekindled something buried within him, perhaps a glimmer of hope. You're right. We should do something, he replied, feeling a strange thrill course through him. Clara's gaze found them amid the crowd. A spark ignited with every shared glance, a silent understanding leading two brothers, once distant, toward a shared mission. But as they stepped forward together, another voice broke through the loudspeaker, crackled as a community leader climbed onto the stage. Now is the time to reclaim our right to a safe community. The leader shouted, and a roar of approval surged through the crowd. Surprised by his own sudden resolve, Ethan felt a rush of emotion, something he'd not felt in years. The connection he felt with Ryan and Clara was palpable. But beneath that sense of unity, a wave of doubt washed over him. Was he even equipped to take on such a fight? As the rally unfolded, voices rose higher, chants echoing against the night. But it was as though a dam had been breached. Suddenly, Clara was there, standing beside them, her eyes seizing both brothers' gazes. We need more than words. We need actions that speak louder. Every person counted, she reminded them, her passion illuminating the path ahead. In the flickering light of reality, the twins stood on a precipice. Hand in hand, could they step beyond the confines of their gilded past? The stakes had shifted, and their once isolated worlds were merging into a single narrative woven with resilience and hope. As they began to understand the power of solidarity, the crackle of a microphone broke their moment, announcing the arrival of the opposition. News cameras flashed, and suddenly, they were in the spotlight, their pasts in stark contrast to the future they hoped to embrace. What lay ahead? Would their efforts be met with acceptance, or would their past choices continue to haunt them? In that moment of uncertainty, hope flickered alongside trepidation. The true test was just beginning. With each uncertainty hanging in the air, their eyes locked, a silent question passing between them: could this rally become the turning point they desperately needed? The atmosphere shifted as the community leader's words reverberated through the air, their echo blending with the crowd's fervent chants. For Ethan, every cheer felt like a challenge, a call to step beyond the shadows of doubt that clung to him. His heart raced, beating an anxious rhythm against the backdrop of a charged collective spirit. Let us go, Ethan urged, nodding toward the stage where Clara stood, passion radiating from her every word. He felt a compelling need to amplify her message, to channel his privilege into something impactful. Ryan's hand brushed against his, an unspoken vow binding them both. Right behind you, Ryan replied, a genuine spark of resolve igniting in his eyes. Despite the weight of past grievances, something new flickered within, an ember fighting against the wind of cynicism. Together, they pushed forward through the crowd, their strides getting more confident with each step. As Clara spotted them approaching, her expression shifted from determination to something more profound. It was gratitude mixed with hope, and it ignited a wildfire of courage in Ethan. He could feel the collective anticipation. The eyes of their neighbors rested on them both, revealing a new dependency placed upon the twins. So much hung in the balance. We need to come together, not just for ourselves but for each other, Clara implored, her voice ringing out over the noise. We have a chance to change things one step at a time. The crowd rallied, a wave of approval rising to meet her. Ethan took a deep breath and stepped into the widening circle of attention. The cameras zoomed in, highlighting his presence against the backdrop of the ordinary citizens around him. The stakes were high, he understood that clearly. But he couldn't help but recognize the raw energy buzzing around them. Clara's right, Ethan began, his voice fortifying as it cut through the noise. It's time to back our words with action. His heart thudded, but something deep within him ignited boldly. This was not just about him or Ryan. It was about every person standing there, yearning for change. A murmur rippled through the crowd, growing louder as people echoed his words in excitement. Somewhere amid the excitement, Ryan caught his eye. They shared a moment, a tapestry of memories weaving together their past intertwined with this newfound purpose. Let us organize a cleanup for the park. Let us make our voices heard at town hall. Ryan shouted, his energy climbing. And we can do it together. The enthusiasm in his tone was infectious, and cheers erupted around them, fueling their newfound mission. But amid the euphoria, a gnawing doubt lingered in Ethan's mind. Could they truly make a lasting impact? Would people ever truly see them as allies instead of opportunists seeking redemption? He could sense the whispers behind their backs, the doubts hovering like dark clouds waiting to rain ruin. Clara seemed to read his thoughts, stepping closer as if to offer reassurance. Together, she said softly, her gaze unwavering, we can shift perceptions. We can change this community for the better. Then they heard it, a distant rumble, the presence of those who opposed their movement. Murmurs coursed through the crowd, a chill settling as tension replaced excitement. The opposition had arrived, a stark reminder of how steep this climb would be. As shadows crept toward them, Ethan's stomach churned. This was the moment that could define everything. Would they let fear dictate their path? As he stood shoulder to shoulder with Ryan and Clara, he felt a wave of fortitude build, a conviction rising against the impending storm. But would their resolve hold when confronted with challenges that loomed heavy? The air was thick with unspoken fears, and as the opposition drew closer, Ethan's heart pounded louder, each thud resonating with the weight of the unknown. What would happen next? The confrontation could cement their transformation or bury it once more. Ethan's breath hitched as he scanned the approaching figures. The opposition stood like a wall, defiant and unyielding. Their presence loomed heavy over the vibrant energy that had just moments ago ignited hope. He felt a knot of fear tightening in his stomach, but he couldn't let it show. Clara's hand brushed against his arm, grounding him. Focus on the message, she whispered, her words a lifeline among the swirling doubts. We're not alone in this. As their opponents closed the distance, Ethan recognized one face among them, the town council member known for her sharp tongue and cold demeanor, Judith. She'd always been a critic, and her presence sent a ripple of anxiety through him. Look at them, Judith shouted, her voice cutting through the crowd. A couple of privileged kids trying to play saviors. Do you really think they care about this community? Ethan's insides twisted as he felt the heat of shame rising. Memories of their past, of living comfortably while so many struggled, clawed at him. But he wouldn't let shame silence him. Now was the time to stand firm. Judith, Ryan called out, stepping forward, voice steady. This isn't just about us. It's about bringing everyone together, those who have and those who have not. Our community needs healing, and we're ready to help. The crowd buzzed with tension, a mix of agreement and dissent swirling around like a summer storm. Ethan could feel the eyes of neighbors, friends, and strangers all glancing between the twins and their critics, weighing their words. You think we need you two to save us? Judith shot back, her lips curling into a sneer. This is just another stunt for you. No, Clara exclaimed, raising her voice above the din. We're not here for publicity. We're here because we believe in this community. We believe in all of you. Ethan felt the weight of her declaration. Clara's focus on community echoed in his heart. But still, doubt whispered in the back of his mind, sowing seeds of fear. What if their opponents were right? What if they were merely fooling themselves? Think about it. Ethan gathered his courage and stepped up beside Clara and Ryan, forming a united front. What's wrong with wanting change? What's wrong with trying together? We're not here to divide. We're here to uplift. This isn't just about the park or a meeting. It's about hope, friendship, respect. We're asking for everyone to step forward. Can't we all do that? The crowd was silent for a moment, the tension suspended like a fragile bubble. Then, a man from the back whispered. He.S. Wright encouraged. More voices joined in, murmuring thoughts of agreement. Ethan's heart raced. Could this really work? Judith crossed her arms, a mix of disbelief and challenge etched on her face. She wasn't convinced, but one thing was clear. The tide might be beginning to turn. Then, an unexpected sound shattered the charged atmosphere, a single clap, followed by another, and then another. It spread through the crowd like an electric current, building momentum. Soon, it transformed into a collective cheer, an affirmation of unity amidst uncertainty. But amidst the roaring applause, Ethan noticed a familiar face frowning in the background, his estranged father. The man who had left a void in their lives now stood there, shadowed by doubt and regret. Ethan's heart sank, a cocktail of emotions surging within him, each vying for dominance. Could this chaos finally lead to reconciliation, or would it drive them even further apart? As the crowd exploded in shouts of support, the clash of opposing wills hung in the air. Would they rise above the conflict and truly embrace change? Or was this just the beginning of an even larger battle to confront their pasts? And the future? The cheers erupted like fireworks, filling the air with unexpected energy. As applause crescendoed around Ethan, he felt simultaneously elated and overwhelmed. The warmth of the crowd wrapped around him, but his gaze kept drifting back to the figure of his father, a storm of emotions brewing within. Clara, sensing his distraction, leaned closer. Ethan, stay with me. This is our moment, she said softly. Her voice was soothing, reaching him above the noise. Craning his neck, Ethan tried to catch his father's eyes, searching for some flicker of understanding or approval. He hoped this moment, the cheers, the unity, could bridge the chasm left by years of silence. But his father remained impassive, arms crossed tightly. It was a stark reminder that reconciling broken bonds was far more complicated than rallying a crowd. Look, they're with us, Ryan exclaimed, pointing to waves of hands raised in support, faces uplifted. The hopeful expressions filled Ethan with a renewed determination. He turned back to Clara and Ryan, ready to amplify their message. Together, we are stronger together, Ethan shouted, pumping his fist in the air. The crowd responded, their collective energy rippling outward. It was contagious. The more they cheered, the more he felt the knot in his stomach loosen. Yet, his father's disappointed gaze weighed heavier than the cheers surrounding him. Could he make this moment matter? Judith, Ethan called, breaking through the chaotic applause. You think we don't care? Maybe we haven't shown it enough. But we want to change that. Let us all find a way forward. Judith's eyes narrowed. You think dreams and chance will fix the problems this town faces? The issues that need money, time, and resources? How naive. The challenge hung in the air, a gauntlet thrown. Ethan's heart pounded. He knew she was right about the depth of the challenges. It's true, change needs action. But it starts with belief. If we can come together now, maybe we can do something really incredible. He looked back at the crowd, a wave of support surrounding him. I'm willing to give it a try, someone called out from the back. It was Old Man Jenkins, renowned for his no-nonsense approach. His voice cut through the tension, a beacon of hope. Ethan felt a surge of energy. Exactly. We can gather resources, share ideas, and create something that involves everyone. Just like Old Man Jenkins said. The agreement was palpable, emotions shifting as hope and resolve flourished. Judith hesitated, her dismissive smirk faltering as murmurs of support grew louder. Bring your ideas to the next meeting, she finally conceded, folding her arms tighter across her chest. If you can convince the council, maybe there's hope for this town yet. A cheer erupted again, but as Ethan basked in the moment, he still couldn't shake the heaviness in his chest from his father's frown. Without realizing it, he began to step towards the man who had once been a cornerstone in his life. Dad, please, we need to talk, he called, pushing through the crowd. His father's eyes darkened, a vortex of emotions swirling, disappointment mixed with something softer, almost regretful. Go back to your little rally, Ethan. "This isn't the place," he replied, his voice steady but hard as concrete. Ethan's heart sank. His rallying cry had connected with the community, but not with the one person who mattered most. "It can be more than just a rally. We're building something here. Don't you see that?" he pleaded. His father shook his head, stepping back. "You don't understand, do you?" Those were words Ethan never thought he'd hear from him. The distance between them felt insurmountable, and as the crowd continued to cheer, the doubts returned, doubts about every step he'd taken, and about the journey ahead. Was healing possible after these years of separation? Could he forge a connection with someone so close yet so far away? The cheers faded into the background, and with every passing second, Ethan felt the fork in the road ahead. Would he turn back to the crowd rallying for change, or would he confront his father and face the emotions waiting to explode? The choice loomed before him like a shadow, and he knew he had to decide quickly. Ethan took a deep breath, the air thick with the mingled sense of excitement and anxiety. He stared into his father's eyes, searching for a way to connect, to bridge the distance that had grown so vast. The chaos of the crowd faded further, replaced by the steady drum of his heartbeat. "Dad, I just want you to listen," he said, his voice barely rising above a whisper. "I'm trying to bring something good to this town. I need your support. I want you to believe in me." His father's face remained a mask of sternness. "Believe in you?" he replied, incredulity lining his words. "You think a few cheers can change the world? You're chasing a fantasy, Ethan." The line pierced through Ethan, fueling the anger he had buried for years. "It's not a fantasy. It's the first step. We're coming together for a purpose, something that matters to all of us." "Together?" his father echoed, shaking his head. "The only thing this town has ever done together is fall apart." A wave of vulnerability washed over Ethan. "But it can be different. It can be better. I just want to know, I need you to support me. I want to understand why you've turned away from me. I want to understand you." The air between them was electric, charged with long-suppressed feelings and unspoken truths. For the first time, Ethan saw a flicker of uncertainty cross his father's face. Maybe he wasn't all stone. "Do you really want to know?" his father said quietly, his voice dropping an octave, drawing nearer. "Do you think you're the only one in pain here?" Ethan blinked, taken aback. What do you mean?" "I'm not the only one who lost something," his father continued, eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I lost my job, my friends. I lost my way. You think this facade I've built doesn't weigh on me?" The shock rattled through Ethan, shaking the foundation of his beliefs. The anger began to melt away, transformed into a bittersweet understanding. "I didn't know," he whispered. "I thought you just didn't care. I thought if I stayed away, it would protect you from the mess I've made of my life." His father's voice cracked, and for a moment, the tough exterior slipped, revealing the man who once towered over him as a dependable figure. Ethan took a cautious step forward, hope igniting in his chest. Maybe they could talk, truly talk, for the first time. "Dad, let us work on it together. We can help each other, heal together. I might not have all the answers, but we can try." His father looked away, the fight in his eyes dimming as he wrestled with shame and vulnerability. "Life isn't as simple as you think it is, Ethan." Feeling the weight of the moment, the energy of the crowd resonated behind them, still buzzing with excitement and hope. A patchwork of voices cried out, filled with possibility for change. The warmth of their shared resolve enveloped Ethan, fortifying him. But his father stood still, caught between fear and the potential for reconciliation. "Let us find a way to rebuild," Ethan urged, his own heart steady and open, battling back the churning doubt. "Imagine what we could accomplish together. I don't want to be just another disappointment to you. Dad, I want to do this as a family." The distance was so close once more, but the shadows of doubt and regret hovered like a thick fog. What would his father choose? The rally of the town or the fragile bonds of family? As they stood there, the cheers rising and falling like waves against the shore, the future seemed to hinge on a single moment. Would they find a path back to each other? Or would the silence drive them apart once more, fracturing any hope for healing? Ethan's heart raced, and he took another step forward, ready for whatever came next. Ethan's breath hitched as he watched the internal battle unfold in his father's eyes. The roar of the crowd faded to a murmur, but their connection thrummed louder than ever. This was a moment. No, it was their moment. Dad? Ethan pressed softly, making sure not to overwhelm him again. If I start this festival, we can show everyone that we're still capable of coming together. You could come to see it for yourself. I don't know, Ethan, his father replied, worry etched into his features. A hint of something softer crept into his tone. Maybe it was uncertainty or fear of failure. What if you fail? What if it just reminds everyone of what they lost? Ethan's heart sank. We can't let fear dictate our lives. Every step forward carries a risk, but it also can lead to something incredible. This town needs hope, Dad. And so do we. A flicker of longing crossed his father's face. For the first time, the walls began to crack. Ethan could see the pain seep through. Hope, his father murmured, the word heavy on his tongue, like a sweet but distant memory. I used to believe in that. Then let us believe in it again together, Ethan urged. He took another step closer, grounding himself in this moment, knowing this was everything that mattered. You don't have to go it alone anymore. I want us to heal together. His father shifted his weight, arms crossing tightly, his defenses still up. Healing takes time, Ethan. You think it's just as simple as piecing together a festival? No, I don't, Ethan answered, his gaze steadfast. It's hard work. The sweat and tears. But isn't it worth it? You're worth it. We can't keep running from each other. The vulnerability in the air was palpable. Ethan's pulse raced, both from fear and hope. Could they fix this broken relationship? Or would they just end up further apart, drowning in the wounds of the past? The crowd behind them began to chant, voices rising like a wave, hinting at the potential of a new dawn. Ethan, 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 they called, spurring him on, their spirit resonating in his chest. His father finally met his gaze, hesitation melding with a bitter smile. You're so much like your mother. She used to believe in all this too. The soft acceptance wrapped around Ethan like a warm embrace. Then let us honor her by making this happen, Ethan whispered. I'm not expecting a miracle overnight, but I need you to try. Just start by believing in us again. Tears brimmed in his father's eyes, each drop a testament to years of bottled emotions. For a moment he looked younger, almost vulnerable. His words hung in the air, fragile as glass. Ethan's heart swelled with anticipation. Was this the moment? Would his father finally allow hope in? Before the silence could deepen, a loud clap interrupted them, pulling both their gazes to the crowd. People were moving closer, their excitement contagious. Join us. We need you both. One voice called out, a younger boy waving a handmade sign that read, Together, we rise. Ethan turned back to his father, his pulse racing. That's what I'm talking about. This is bigger than just us. It's about everyone. His father's brow furrowed, the weight of the decision pressing down. Would he step forward, or retreat back into his shell of isolation? The answer hung in the air, thick with hope and uncertainty. Ethan's heart beat wildly in his chest as the crowd cheered louder, their anticipation spiraling. What choice would his father make? Would he join them, breaking down the walls that had shadowed their relationship for far too long? Or would he retreat once more into the darkness of unshared burdens and silence? Every heartbeat felt like a question, a plea for reconciliation, as the crowd surged around them, waiting for their moment. Ethan held his breath, bracing for the answer. The roar of the crowd felt like a wave crashing over him, each cheer rooting for a connection he yearned to strengthen. The tension thickened, hanging in the air like the promise of rain on a hot day. His father's expression shifted, an internal storm battling with the memories vivid enough to sound like ghosts whispering in the back of his mind. You really want this, don't you? He finally asked, the hesitation giving way to a cautious breath. His voice trembled slightly, thick with unspoken emotions. More than anything, Dad, Ethan replied, his heart unveiling his truth. I can't promise it'll be easy, but I believe it's worth it. Minutes ticked away, the world around them a blur of color and sound. The crowd was a living organism, breathing hope into the cool air. But the only person Ethan saw was his father. He yearned for acceptance, to make that connection, to feel understood. I can't just jump back in, his father said quietly, almost to himself. Not when the past still holds me back. Then let us face the past together, Ethan urged, stepping just a bit closer. We've been running long enough. It's time to stop being defined by our pain. His father studied Ethan, the fight slowly draining from his posture. What if I don't know how? What if I mess it up? Again, the cracks were widening, and Ethan could almost see his father starting to let go of some of those burdens. Ethan didn't have the answer. He only had faith. Then we'll figure it out, Dad. Step by step. You're not alone anymore. Around them, the cheers of the crowd morphed into a chant, rhythmic and steady, urging them forward. Together, together, echoed through the air, igniting something fragile yet powerful between the two of them. His father's gaze flickered to the crowd for a brief moment and then back to Ethan. You were so young when all of this happened. I thought I was protecting you. I thought keeping you away from my pain would keep you safe. I know, Dad, Ethan said gently, tears threatening to brim in his own eyes. But I'm not that boy anymore. I can handle it if you can. The moment lay suspended, charged with all that had been left unsaid. His father's defenses began to crumble, the vulnerability washing over his features. A breath escaped him, crackling with uncertainty but laced with yearning. He took a tentative step, closer to the heart of the crowd, closer to Ethan. Yes, he said barely above a whisper. Each syllable trembled like the last leaf clinging to a branch in autumn. I'll try. Ethan's heart soared. That's all I ask. Dad, just try. We can make this festival something special. The crowd erupted into joy, sensing this shift, this small victory. They were on the verge of magic, an unbreakable bond forming anew. As they stepped forward together, Ethan felt the rush of possibility wrap around them like a warm blanket. This was only the beginning. They were no longer standing at the precipice, now they were leaping forward. But just as Ethan began to feel the tight knot of anxiety loosen in his chest, a familiar face pressed through the crowd. It was Sarah, the girl who once held his heart and then shattered it with a single goodbye. Her presence stole the air from his lungs. What did she want now? And how would this complicate everything he was trying to rebuild? Ethan's pulse quickened again as their eyes locked across the sea of hopeful faces. Would she be a part of this new chapter or a shadow from the past that lingered too long? The air buzzed with uncertainty, a reminder that healing often came with unexpected twists. What would happen next? Ethan's heart raced, each beat echoing the uncertainty that surged through him. He had just taken a step toward healing with his father, only to have the past threaten to claw its way back in. Sarah stood there, her eyes searching for something he wasn't sure he wanted to give her. The crowd's energy faded into background noise as he focused on her, drawn in by a magnetic pull, yet feeling an urge to retreat. It felt like he was standing in two worlds, one where he was finally forging a new connection with his father, and the other where memories of Sarah both haunted and enticed him. Ethan, she called, her voice wavering amidst the thrum of excitement. The name hung between them like a forgotten promise, too heavy to bear yet too precious to ignore. His father took a half-step back, sensing the electric tension. Can we talk? Sarah pressed, her vulnerability surfacing through the bravado she'd always worn like armor. Ethan hesitated, memories flooding back, moments of laughter, playful banter, and then the sharp sting of betrayal. 5 years had carved deep lines into their story, but the rawness of the past lingered, just beneath his skin. Now, here, he flinched, the noise of the festival crashing around him. The vibrant decorations and the jubilant laughter of children felt miles away. I know it's not ideal, but I need to apologize, she said softly, her voice breaking under the weight of her shame. Just then, a loud cheer erupted from the crowd as someone set off a firework, bright and colorful against the night sky. It was a moment of celebration, yet it only deepened his uncertainty. Your timing is, well, not great, Ethan shot back, frustration testing his resolve. I didn't mean for it to be like this, she answered, her eyes glistening with regret. Do you remember how everything fell apart? I was scared, Ethan. That's no excuse, but I wanted you to know I think about that day all the time. Her words hung in the air, fragile and poignant, as memories of their final argument crept into Ethan's mind. Had he ever truly understood her fear? Back then, all he had felt was pain and betrayal. Do you think it just disappears? He snapped, unable to hold back the hurt that washed over him. I've been trying to rebuild my life, Sarah. You have no idea how hard it's been. A flicker of hurt crossed her face, but she didn't look away. I know. I've been watching you from a distance. I just never thought you'd come here tonight. I thought I blew my chance. No, you blew my heart, Ethan said, the words harsher than intended. He tried to soften his tone but found it impossible. I don't know if I can just erase that. His father, sensing the tension, stepped closer. Ethan, maybe she deserves a chance to explain, he urged, his voice gentle but laced with concern. Ethan felt the urge to shut out the world, to retreat back to the moment they shared just minutes ago, the hope, the potential. But Sarah's look made him question everything he thought he knew. What do you want, Sarah? He finally asked, the desire for clarity creeping into his voice. What can I possibly do with this now? Tears pooled in her eyes as she searched for the right words. Everything felt painfully alive, straddling the past and the present like a precarious tightrope. I want to make it right. I want to show you that I'm not the person I was back then. I want to be here now. Ethan's chest tightened. Was he ready for this? Ready to open the door to someone who once hurt him so deeply? Just as he opened his mouth to respond, a voice rang out, interrupting the moment. Ethan, Dad, we need you over here. The celebration is about to start. He turned, sensing his father's eyes on him, a reminder of their new beginning. But Sarah's gaze held him captive. The choices loomed ahead, echoes of the past pushing against the surge of hope he had just dared to embrace. Ethan felt the weight of everything, his father's tentative attempt to reconnect, Sarah's plea for forgiveness, the festival's exhilarating energy pulling at him like a tide. Would he stand his ground or risk losing everything to the past again? As the rhythmic chants of the crowd surged once more, Ethan knew one thing for certain. Nothing would ever be the same again. What would he choose as the night unfurled before him? Ethan's heart raced, every beat echoing the gravity of his situation. He stood on the edge of two paths, one leading toward newfound hope with his father, and the other spiraling back into the complicated emotions around Sarah. Both paths laid heavy with potential and peril, illuminating the past's unresolved ache. As the cheers of the crowd resonated a few steps away, a sense of urgency twisted within him. He couldn't let this moment slip away. Couldn't let the possibility of healing fade because of uncertainty and fear. Life would always be messy. The challenge was to find connection despite it. Sarah, he began, his voice steadier than he felt. I need you to understand something. I've spent years trying to rebuild my life, to make sense of things that seem broken beyond repair. It's not that simple to just forgive and forget. Ethan's words hung in the air, heavy with his truth. I know that, she said, her voice trembling yet fierce, and I don't expect you to just welcome me back with open arms. I've made mistakes, and I've carried them like a stone in my pocket. But standing here, seeing you, knowing what you've achieved, it's made me realize I want to be part of that life again. I want a second chance. The sincerity in her voice struck him deeply, but the memories of hurt were still raw. He shifted his gaze, seeking solace in the warmth radiating from his father, who remained patiently listening. Ethan felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. This wasn't just about him anymore. It encompassed his journey, his father's struggles, and now Sarah's plea for redemption. Then, he said slowly, if you truly mean it, if you want to make amends, it starts with honesty, with showing up for your mistakes, not just telling me you want to change. Their eyes locked, and he could see the layers of remorse woven into the fabric of her expression. She nodded, determination igniting a spark within her. I can do that. I want to work for it. I'll prove myself. The sincerity of her words echoed in his chest, leaving an imprint of uncertainty mixed with hope. Suddenly, there was a shift in the atmosphere. The crowd's anticipation surged, pulling attention away from their intimate moment. A momentous energy was building, resonating with the twin missions unfolding. Unity among the community and personal healing for Ethan. As the rallying chants erupted around them, he felt the truth of their potential, a collective force that could overpower past grievances if everyone chose to step forward. With a steady breath, he refocused on the festival ahead, turning back to the sea of faces whose lives were intertwined with his. We have to be part of this moment, he said, the urgency clear in his voice, drawing Clara closer alongside his father. For us to heal as individuals, we must push through the echoes of the past together. We can make a difference not just for ourselves but for everyone who needs hope and unity. His father met his gaze, a new resolve dawning within him, and together, they stepped into the heart of the crowd. This is our chance to release the burdens we've carried for so long, Ethan continued, voice steady. The festival began to light up as lights twinkled against the deepening sky, colors bursting to life, weaving strands of hope. Ethan's pulse quickened as the harmony of the community began to resonate, a sound more potent than any individual struggle, an anthem of togetherness. As they immersed themselves into the vibrant swirl of festival goers, laughter bubbled around them, and excitement crackled through the air. The festival was a celebration of their growth, a testament to the resilience that defined their lives. Around them, neighbors exchanged stories, bonds began to form, and laughter echoed beneath the stars. Ethan felt the weight in his heart lighten, warming him as he grasped onto the fragile threads of connection being established. In the glow of fairy lights, his father squeezed his shoulder, a silent acknowledgement of their rebirth as a family. As if sensing the change, Clara appeared, her eyes gleaming with pride. You did it. This is just the beginning. I senti it, she exclaimed, radiating joy. Ethan felt a surge of empowerment, their collective strength igniting flames of optimism. Yes, together we can do more than we ever imagined. This is our community now. He turned to Clara, inviting her into this newfound space filled with hope. Join us, he said gently, a renewed resolve echoing between them. Let us take these steps forward together, rebuild trust where it was lost, and create something remarkable out of our shared experiences. We can face the past and create a future filled with resilience instead of shame. The cheers continued, almost drowning out their conversation. And in that moment, Ethan knew this was their transformation. He extended his hand to Clara, tightening the bond, revitalizing their connection. She took it, her resolute grip signaling that she was ready to walk this journey together. Amidst the laughter and cheers, Ethan raised his voice above the crowd. Let us show everyone here that we can rise together from our shadows. With that, the night erupted in joy. Celebrations pulsated, moments intertwined, and the echoes of their past morphed into a symphony of the future ahead. Change flourished, friendships rekindled, and through it all, a new mixture of love and hope stirred, one that would carry them into everything yet to come. As the festival unfolded, Ethan stood among them, united with his father, Clara, Ryan, and Clara, a testament to the magnificent power of healing and rebirth. It was time to embrace the unknown path ahead, and together, they would navigate it, one step at a time. Now's your moment. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that ignite hope and inspire transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support for the journey we share. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this heartfelt ending, because your voice matters. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share the power of connection and healing.